Alright, so a lot has happened since last time. I meant to make this video way back, but I got really busy graduating and stuff. Anyways, so I lost my other skateboard, the blue one. So now I have this one. But yeah, doesn't mean you stop skateboarding. So we're gonna learn kickflips. Okay, so kickflips are probably the coolest trick for a beginner, and I would have to say that anybody who calls themselves a skateboarder is probably gonna want to learn the kickflip one day. It's the first kickflip trick that most people learn, and it's pretty hard. Okay, first step is foot position. So you're gonna want to put your front foot here, like right behind the front bolts, a little off to the side, where you can do the flick, and then you're gonna put your back foot on the tail, just like an ollie. And that one's gonna pop it just the same. So how the kickflip works is it's pretty simple. It's like this. So you have your board here, your back foot is on the tail, pops up just like an ollie, and so do you remember in the ollie you shift your front foot just enough for it to like pull the back end up? Well, instead of just like going straight this time and landing over the bolts, it's gonna leave the board for a split second, and it's gonna like from here it's just gonna like flick off. And if it goes, it's going this way, so the board will follow your foot, and once it makes a complete rotation, that's when you're supposed to have both feet back on your board and catch and land. Once you get the pop, and then you're about to flick the board, at first when we do this, we're gonna want our foot to be at the very side, like I just showed you, so that you could just flick the board as soon as you get off, or as soon as you start, or as soon as you get off the ground. You're gonna flick the board, and then it's gonna make a really fast flip, and then you're gonna like land on it, and you're gonna call that your first kick flip. And so they're not gonna be very high, because how kickflip works is it depends on the pop, same as an ollie, to get the height. But since you're not doing much of this motion like the ollie to make it really high, and instead you're like just kicking it off right away, your foot, then it won't be that high. And it might even be diagonal, but still it'll flip and you'll land on it, and that's like a kickflip. Now I'm going to show you my first kickflip that I ever landed. When we first do the kickflip, after, let's just say you know how to flip it, you do this, and it's good, but you want to make it higher. What you're gonna have to do now is you're gonna get a new foot position. So instead of the front foot being way at the side here, where it'll just flick off, you're gonna have it like almost all on the board, like this. And then that will make it so that it takes longer for the foot to get over to the side and flick off. And because of that, it will pull the board up while the pop has made it go in the air. It will pull it up before it loses its strength. See, like when you did it like this, all you did was flip the board, but you didn't really pull the board up because it was on the board. Your foot was on the board such a short amount of time. See, you know, in ollie, the foot is always on the board, so it makes it really high. So the other foot position might be a little more stable too, but since if we're just beginning, we probably just want to get the flip down and land a simple kick flip right away. The other one is more stable because when we put the other foot like way on the edge, depends on how loose your trucks are, but mine are pretty loose, and I ended up like for practicing all my kick flips, I was basically like diagonal, you know, and it was really uncomfortable because I would have to launch it from this angle. It was like this most of the time if I were standing on it. But you get the flip, and you're happy about it for a while. So even though it's called a kickflip, the front foot is gonna just do a simple flick, just like this. So do you see, like, just like an ollie, you did this, kind of bent your ankle, and then instead of going forward, it comes off diagonally. It goes like this. Let's see. I'm gonna show a top view of that. So my foot's gonna be right there while I'm in the air. It's gonna go like this, up, and just like that. Just like that. Now that you can get the flip down, what is the main problem now is landing the trick. And landing the trick is just so hard because your feet, or one of your feet actually leaves the board this time. And so I haven't really seen any other videos that say this. I guess everybody assumes you know, but for me it took me a really long time to figure it out. And I saw this on Skate Explanations video that, or I meant, he didn't really say it, but I just looked at his kick flips and saw what he did. It's basically like after you flick it, your foot ends up here, and this is the cause of many one-footed kick flips when the back foot lands on it but the front foot is still off. What you have to remember is right after you do the flick, this is what you do. You bring it right back on, just like this. Okay, just like this, you bring it right back on. You have to do it yourself. Okay, your foot doesn't come back. So yeah, you have to bring it right back on. And I'll show you these side view kick flips that I did. It clearly shows that I do the flick and then I bring my foot back on. If we can do kick flips to some degree, we want to get high kick flips. I was really frustrated on why my kick flips weren't high because I was doing all the motions correct, I felt. But here's the thing, I didn't change anything except for one part, and that was my pop. All I did was pop harder, and I was able to do a kick flip in which the board flipped horizontally in the air, and I caught it and I can land it. See, like, most of the time, you know, it goes up, it doesn't go up much, and also it flips diagonally like this. So all you do is just pop it harder, and I see why, you know, I didn't do that in the beginning. You know, popping it harder repetitively is just so tiring. And so in the beginning, I bet that since we're not used to having a foot leave the board yet, and if we only know the ollie, that the motion of this and then this flick is really strange to us. Well, that's going to be true for every skateboard trick you learn. The basic move is just so weird. All you have to do is just keep doing it, it's just commitment until it feels normal. In the beginning, I'm sure that you absolutely feel completely like, okay, this move is so weird, I don't know how to do it, I'm probably doing it wrong and stuff. You're probably doing it right, it just feels so abnormal that, you know, you don't really know what you're doing. But just keep doing it until it feels more normal, and then you can start practicing for real. A rather important one is about the kick itself. So the kick, like I said earlier, is just a flick like this in which your ankle moves and not the whole leg. You know, so we're used to going up straight because the ollie goes up straight. That, you know, I'm sure this will happen when you try this, but you're gonna like get up like this, you can do it, but then like even though you get the flip down, you're gonna like you're just gonna kick it forward, and you're gonna land behind it, you know. And so all you have to do is just make sure you just flick to the side, not forward, or a little diagonal, but basically mostly not forward. If you have the habit of doing it a little bit forward, and the board keeps landing just a little bit ahead of you. What you could do for a short-term fix is you lean forward a little bit and you'll get right back on it. But you don't want to like keep your kickflips at that level for the rest of your career. Now there are a lot of people worried about when they do it, the board doesn't flip all the way and they land upside down and stuff. That one is just common sense. If it's not going over enough, then you just flick a little harder, making sure that you don't flick forward to the side instead. Or if it's going too much, like 1.5 turns, then you just flick a little softer. I mean, that one you just have to keep doing until you find the right strength that you have to put in, and that will take a while, not gonna lie. So the last thing I'm going to show you is the power of holding on to something. Why holding on to something is so good for practicing is, well, you're stationary, so you don't have to worry about the forward movement. You can learn that later once you get the kickflip stationary. And the second one is, when you're holding on to something, you can use your arms to keep your body up. So basically you have like unlimited pop. And so you're not worrying about how high your pop is. You just pop, and since your arms are holding your body up, then the board is not limited by how high you can jump anymore, and your feet will just do its motion. Just like it'll only have to do its motion. It doesn't have to focus on the pop if you're holding yourself up. So the last thing I want to talk about is my own kickflip thing. Alright, so I learned to shove it, and next step was the kickflip. And the kickflip I learned about 2 years ago. I'm still not good at it now because I stopped practicing. Was basically I got the movement down, and it took me a while, and like I really tried the kickflip just because I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna get it. It just was just so complicated in the beginning. Now I just practiced it just for fun, not really expecting anything. One day I was starting to time the pop and the flick just right, enough that I was actually able to flip the board completely around and have like my back foot land on it. And I was so happy. I was like, oh dang, I'm almost there. So I just kept practicing after that until I finally got that one that you saw earlier. Basically what happened was I was just doing kickflips in the garage and filming all of them until I got my first one, because I knew I was going to get it soon. I was so close, literally, that I just decided to film it, and yeah, I got my first kickflip and I was so happy. Basically, I stopped for a while, and I had to relearn a couple things, repractice, and I picked up all these tips along the way, put them all together in this video. And so you just gotta, it's just practice, and you have to use a lot of energy on this one. You can't just like get by. Even the ollie was hard, but this is definitely on a different level since your feet leave, and since the board is moving by the time your foot gets back, you have to do an actual kind of catch thing. If you got the catch on the shove it, then it might be easier for you because you're used to the board moving, but it's a different movement anyways, so it may or may not help. You gotta be careful. I twisted my ankle a couple times on this trick, and it really sucked because it put me out for 3 months each. Basically, like, since the foot leaves and the board is spinning, if it lands primo, then you're gonna land somewhere here, and what if your foot slips off like this, and it does a crazy bend, and that's a sprained ankle right there, and they really suck. So you gotta be careful on these. Alright, hope you get your kick flips.